Okay, I am really scared. I am live, but I am also really scared. I'm streaming. I am really scared because it is saying the stream health is bad. I am scared. Somebody let me know if this is even halfway working. Oh, let me get in on this Discord. Got me out here doing all this work. Ah. Oh my God, Paco's actually here for an event. It's like he works here. Okay, one second. Okay, sorry I can't hear y'all now. And thank you for coming to office hours. Thank you for being here. I appreciate your presence. Somebody let me know how the stream is doing on YouTube. Oh, and if one of the mods or admins could re-announce the office hours and events, that would be super de-duper lovely. You can see the YouTube link. This is also, by the way, live on Discord if you want just the audio. And I accept questions, your little bullshit questions, in both YouTube chat and Discord. So hopefully, okay, let's see how this stream is doing. Okay, Mia, since you're the only one who loves me on YouTube, how's the stream doing? Am I synced up ish? Am I coming through? Do I sound like a potato? Oh, ooh, I forgot. I'm in Linux right now, and this thing ain't intuitive for shit. Okay. Yeah, I thought I was starting it. I thought I'm in here. Can y'all hear me? At least in Discord? Okay, wait, is anyone here? Y'all playing games? I'm talking about bottoming. There's some delay in video. It's doing significantly. Okay. Yay! Thank you, Mia. Oh, speaking of Mia and Steven, I have an announcement for both of y'all later on in this stream. Wait, what? Okay, yeah, everything please in voice text chat. Everything responds to me. Please keep it in voice text chat. I can't be checking like every single channel. Oh, that's not bad at all. Damn. That's actually pretty good. I think there's always some delay in the video. Okay, but Steve and Mia, I have a special announcement for both of you when we get this thing on the road. Feel free to start pouring in with your questions, y'all. You can put questions in the voice text chat inside the Discord, or you can put them in the YouTube chat here. Okay, well, while y'all struggle with that, I'm going to struggle with playing the winning clips for the challenge. So I didn't play the clip last week for the challenge, but last week's challenge was hitting E's on E's with E's. It's basically like you hit the E sound, that vowel, you hit that on any E note, and depending on what E note you do it like the most challenging mechanism. And that week's winner was Steve. So let me pull out that clip and play it. God, this Linux is so difficult. What? Oh, damn. Oh, no, I am so upset. Wait. Oh, crap. Am I using the wrong stream? No. I'm using the right stream. Ooh, don't do that to me. Don't do that to me. Why do y'all do this? Okay. Events. 22. Why? You stay like spooking me about shit that is not a problem. Okay, sorry, ignore that. Ignore all that. Okay, So, let me play the winner from last week's challenge. Open with, I don't even know if this is gonna work. This is Steve's clip from last week. God, is it playing? Can you play? Oh my God. Really? Really? No. Just play the damn thing. Actually, no. Let me play it from my phone because Linux is difficult. Because computer nerds are difficult and don't know how to relate to human beings. Please keep it office hours in the voice text chat. General chat, go in general. Or shit posting, go in shit posting. Please keep it office hours so I can find the questions. Thank you. Okay, let me play it on my phone. And last week's winner was Steve with this. Can we play it? Can we play it? What? No, it doesn't download on mobile? No. Okay. No, stop. Feel free to also give me your questions while I struggle infernally with this. Oh my God, this is so difficult for no reason. This is so difficult for no reason. I just told it to play in VLC. Why is VLC not opening? Let's see if I have any questions while I struggle with this. I am sorry, Steve. Your clip will play shortly. Jesus, God, it's so difficult for no reason. Would be specifically referred to as a hot mess. Yes, please get my mess gender correct. Like why? Why is it this difficult? I guess I'm gonna have to have like a bonanza where I play like all 3 challenges from the past week all at one time. Cause Linux is difficult and my phone is shit. Let's see if... No, nothing. Nothing plays. Nothing plays. Thank you. That's great. That's great. That's wonderful. That's lovely. Anyways, Steve is the winner of the first week's challenge, which was the hitting the vowel E on an E note with ease, proving that any note can be done on any vowel if you don't believe in vowel conspiracies. And the challenge winner after that was Ebola. I think also goes by Tim for the hyponasality challenge, which is singing with hyponasality. See ya, Bia. Okay, y'all. Okay, let me check these. Can vocal range deteriorate? Okay, so can vocal range deteriorate? Yes, it can deteriorate over time. What happens biologically with age to the vocal folds is the vocal folds tend to sort of calcify, not literally get calcium deposits necessarily, but they get harder and less elastic, and that makes them less prone to vibrate. And if something vibrates less, it's harder to get it to vibrate at higher frequencies. Though I don't think that necessarily means that we lose the ability to use different vocal configurations and everything. I think it just means they become harder to use. Okay, after a long hiatus, yes, I think vocal range can and will deteriorate from lack of use. So I think lack of use is more of a threat to range than age, if you know what you're doing. Range will become harder to use with age, but your range won't necessarily deteriorate if you keep using it. But if you don't use it, it is far more likely to deteriorate. If you don't practice it, if you don't figure out how your voice is changing, yes, it's likely to deteriorate. What often happens, I see this happen with so many singers, is they get like some minor vocal injury and they take like vocal rest for 5 months and they come back and like, oh no, I can't sing anymore. I wonder why I can't do the thing I haven't done for 5 months. And they just, nobody is warning these hoes about the dangers of lack of usage of the voice. And there's a lot of emerging studies and research that shows that conserved use of the voice is a lot healthier and is a lot more tantamount to vocal recovery than just taking complete vocal rest and not using your voice at all. So I would like use it or lose it is basically how I feel about voice in short terms. Valerie asks, can you learn to use tech? I'm not sure exactly what you mean by tech, like vocal techniques. Yeah, you can learn any vocal technique. Like they're learnable. Like that's the whole point of treating them as techniques, not like bloodline limit. Genkai Sharingan. Can I let? Oh, girl! I will find you. No, she says no. I meant use technology. I will find you. I will turn you into a baritone. Yeah, A's are definitely possible. Any more questions? If nobody has any more questions, oh, you're already baritone. I'm gonna make you. What's like the worst kind of baritone? I'm gonna make you like a baritone 2, something like that. It's probably like a baritone 1, baritone 2, baritone 3. Like baritone 3 is probably like the baritone or high baritone, and then like baritone 1 is probably like bass baritone. I'm gonna make you like a middle baritone, so you have like no bass range, you have no tenor range, you just have like this unsatisfying middle range. Can I go over AES again? You know the archives, the office hours each week are archived for your viewing pleasure. Speaking of logistics and other housekeeping announcements, please like and subscribe. And also, as you can see in the doobly-doo for this video, there is a sign-up sheet for the open mic on July 4th. Don't miss it. Okay. So, depends on what week I went over it. You can view the thing from the week that I went over it. Oh my god. Okay. So let me get through each question at a time. So, AES, going over it really quickly, because you should probably try to rewatch the one where I went over it. In fact, I think I rewatched it myself. I'm sure it's saved pretty well. But going over it really quickly, AES, constricting the aryepiglottic sphincter. It's not a true sphincter, but it operates a lot like a sphincter, and it feels a lot like a sphincter. It sounds like this, and it gives you this sort of like piercing, penetrating quality. You'll want to listen to voices like Urkel and SpongeBob, and sort of Fran Drescher from The Nanny, who's also very nasal as well. But yeah, you want to listen for this sound. The sound is not nasal. It's called twang in the Still model. And listening to it a bunch can help you get a better idea of how to do it. And what else? What was the last thing I was going to say? Oh yeah, you'll feel like a sort of constriction in your throat as you do it. Like some people might feel it in their mouth, some people might feel it towards their nose, but you're going to feel a constriction wherever you feel it. So you should feel for a constriction, like you're tightening something, and it sort of, oh god, I don't know how to make this not phallic, but you are sort of like tightening a hole, and as the air passes through this like smaller and smaller hole, it kind of concentrates into a laser, so you can feel your voice a little bit more. So get the laser resonance. Okay, let me check to see if there's any. Okay. What can I please explain what formant tuning is? So, formant tuning. By the way, I have like a neck crick, so if I move my neck unnaturally, you'll know that's not like the demons possessing me like normal. So, what formant tuning I think is, and I'm not super familiar with it, it's not my forte. I tend to like to leave like vowels as a means of like communication and expression, and then like everything else is like controlled by voice for singing. I don't like to think of vowels as necessarily like the first singer tool that I look at. But formant tuning, from what I understand, is essentially shifting formant, so slightly changing the shapes of vowels and the sort of spectral activity that corresponds to these shapes of these vowels, so that you get these like sort of sound bonuses, like you get these formant boosts, like multiplier bonuses, where you get like formants to align with harmonics and stuff like that, and you get a particular like boost at that sound frequency. So that's that can be used. Yes, that's the sound of nail clippers. So, Ed, you're making a cameo with the nail clippers on my live stream.
What's up?
No, you can keep clipping your nails. That's, somebody heard your nail clippers. Shout out to the nail clippers. Okay, so was I gonna say? Now you can get a sort of like sound boost from that, and I think operatic people and like sciencey people sometimes will use those. You can have more of the smoothie if you want. By the way, I made a blueberry peach smoothie. I'm such a homemaker. You can use those to get like what some operatic singers try to get through ring. It's like this like tuning that makes your voice audible above an orchestra or whatever, because you get these like sound boosts. So having the amplitude from your vowel formants align with, say, like your vocal cord harmonics or whatever, can which is going to change the actual vowel that you're hitting to some degree, can make the voice sound a bit more quote unquote resonant, and this is part of why. And I don't like this, because this is part of why, in my opinion, like opera tends to be unintelligible. Is like if people go for these things, they're not hitting the textbook vowels that people say when they're talking. They're altering the vowels to these like Illuminati elevated vowels that are somehow better, like singer vowels or whatever. And there's plenty of ways that don't necessarily distort vowel formants that you can use to get that kind of sound boost. Okay. Well, for those of you who are just arriving, open mic, July 4th, sign up. Info sheet is in the doobly-doo. Do it. Doobly-do it. Just doobly-do it. Okay. So, Paco says, hey, can I get my range back for the price of $50 on your classes? Yes, all of you can get your range back. You can get your range back and more for just 9 payments of $9.99. Okay. Rika asked me to do my best anime voice. I actually do not know, like, I don't know anime, like the anime girl voice that well. I need to study it better. Like, I need like, feed me like a thing to say, Rika. You can do that here on the YouTube. I'm tracking back and forth between both. Know what I should do, now that I'm not like inside the premium channels that y'all can't see, I will turn the screen capture back on so y'all can see the questions as I see them. Okay. As you can see, YouTube, my Discord isn't shit. Really? Nobody has an anime phrase for me to say? Yes, you can get your range back. Unless you're like a pack-a-day smoker, you can get your range back. Okay, let me try that. So, let me, because I feel like if I just try to do it, that's what she said, senpai. Oh, no. No. You gotta pay extra for that shit. Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna start. I think like a lot of anime voices use M2 and high larynx. So in this like, this is more like, I guess, the dub version of the anime voice. But notice me, senpai. How would you say notice? Like literally notice me? Like chuishite in Japanese? Is it chui? It's either chumon. I think chumon is order. So chui, I think, is like pay attention. Chuishite. But I'm probably wrong as hell. No! Is that an actual dub? No, not dub, sub. Is that like actually a legit sub? Oh my god. I need this anime in my life right now. Okay, nobody got questions? Y'all like to ask 1,000 questions and then go dead silent when office hour happens. Really? Fushigi Yugi? Be on that level of shit? Damn, that's some real shit. Oh, damn it. Oh, god damn it. Okay, I guess I just have a tab for each thing now. See, y'all love to not have questions. I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna stop answering questions when I see them on the Discord and just direct y'all to office hours because y'all love to come here and ask no questions. And then have 1,000 questions and inbox me in between office hours. Y'all think I'm just gonna keep putting up with that shit? Nope. By the way, if you are just looking at this video now, please check out the description. Got a link for how to get your questions to the top. Ooh, speaking of which, I need to check to see office hours. What's it? Voice Stack Exchange. Let's see if anybody has added any questions. Oh, ooh, somebody added a new one. So is it impossible to increase one's lung capacity? So if you ask your questions on Stack Exchange, you can get precedent. I put it at the screen as if you could see it. So is it possible to increase one's lung capacity? This question is coming from Stack Exchange. I think I'm still screen sharing. Any questions asked via Stack Exchange will automatically get precedent and be answered with a nice, thorough, lengthy, juicy, with 2 O's and a CY answer. Hopefully towards the beginning of office hours. So don't forget, ask your questions via Stack Exchange if you want them to get priority. So is it possible to increase one's lung capacity? Yes, I think. The lungs are elastic enough, but why I'm so hesitant to say yes so overtly, like, is it literally possible to do that? I'm pretty sure it is. Like, as we grow, our lung capacity grows. I'm sure there's like a capacity to which you can grow it, and you can't grow it past that capacity. But there's all kinds of other capacities that I think are implied by that question, like the capacity of your blood to be oxygenated. Like, they have a whole thing of like training sprinters in like the high altitude Kenyan mountains, so their blood learns to be more efficient in handling oxygen, and that's why like all the best runners come from like certain places in Africa, because they might have like high elevation or whatever kind of conditions that make it so that handling oxygen is super serious business. So the ability to handle oxygen, and also the ability to like play the rhythm game with your breathing, all these things go into how much like cardio, breath usage and output that you can have. But when it comes to voice, a lot of this stuff is not actually that relevant, because voice is more of a game of breath conservation in economy, rather than a game of I have the biggest lungs, therefore I win. Like Mariah Carey's not like no track athlete or whatever, but she be probably holding records for some of like the longest notes on a charting song because of breath control, not necessarily like I'm a world-class gymnast. Like a lot of people with asthma, like I've had several students with asthma, they'll be like, oh, is it in the cards for me, teacher? Can I sing? It's like, it's really not that deep. Like, if you learn how to control your breath, as long as you're not having like an asthmatic fit while you are singing, as long as you're not like going into shock or your bronchioles or like having an episode or whatever, asthma really doesn't, like, just having long-term asthma and the limits of what that mean really should not interfere with regular singing, and especially like regular singing, because people be asking questions like about all this like next level athletic shit, like what they do in their singing really isn't like what's a simple song? What's an Ed Sheeran song? They say she's in the class 18. There's nothing about singing phrases like that that requires like this deep breathing, like namaste, intergalactic planetary lung capacity. It really like you don't even have to think about. You really don't even have to think about using breath in any kind of special way to any deep level until you get to like really hard, difficult songs. The people that are asking these questions aren't probably going to be singing in the first place. So breath is not really this deep thing that people try to make it for singing. Okay, now back to voice text chat to see if there are no questions. I mean, there's questions about like what is giving you trouble with passing? Why aren't you quote unquote passing right now? I don't know whether or not you're passing, but like what things are standing in the way of that? Okay, that's a question. Okay, can I explain the cause of the passaggio, aka register breaks? So, excellent question from Steven. Oh, I don't know if Mia will be back at any time. Mia, let me know if you're back. Somebody let Mia know to let me know that she's back when she's back. And I will make an announcement concerning Mia and Steven. I ship it, OTP, no. Concerning Mia and Steven when they get back, or when she gets back. Or they use they pronouns. They use they pronouns, yeah, right. Okay, that is so confusing. I think we eventually need to have like a singular they and a plural they. Okay, so, can I explain the passaggio? Yes, I can. So, if you look at, and I don't know how this works, but in terms of like, can I show other YouTube videos on this? Actually, this video doesn't have music in it, so I should be good to show it. Let me go to, okay, I'm gonna close this because I think it's done. Gonna scroll past the darkness that is voice text chat right now, and I am going to go into what are nodes, and hopefully y'all can see this. I'm going to open the pinned posts, and you should check this out. We have an entire section of this dedicated to biology and medicine of singing and how things actually work at an anatomical level. And the very first pin post in here is from my idol, Mal Webb. And let me jump to this post. And he actually does a great demonstration. He uses register terminology and not mechanism terminology, which I think is like inconsistent and difficult.
Into my throat to look at my vocal folds, a nasal laryngoscope, which has a strobe so you can see the cycle of the vibrations. We're at the Melbourne Voice Analysis Clinic with Deb Farland and Malcolm.
Now look at this section. So yodeling is nothing but register breaks. So look at these register breaks. Oh, it's contra.
Yeah, a little throat whistle.
No, not that. See how they're popping like open further every time he changes registers or mechanisms more accurately. That popping open and closed, that decompression of air is, I think, what gives the passaggio sound. That sudden, like imagine and one day I'm going to actually have this to demonstrate, but imagine you are like venting a balloon and you open the balloon wider and you like make it more narrow. It's going to make this like farting kinds of sounds as you compress and decompress the aperture that the air can get out of. So this like opening and closing, when you have this high air pressure underneath, kind of gives this like you can hopefully hear like as I chop the air coming from my lips, that obstruction and deobstruction of the air makes a sound. So like there's like a little bit of that compression decompression. That same compression decompression of the air is what gives the mechanism sound change. Oh wait, it's duplicating the audio? Huh? Okay. Aspirate breaks are just basically adding an aspirate onset, right? Wrong! No. Okay, since I like you, since you're my best girl, you're my favorite daughter, I'm going to give you this little bit of trivia that I only reserve. I talked about this during first lesson with people that I think are like, you are so scientifically into this. In fact, I've only asked this question to Nash and maybe. Oh yeah, probably someone whose name I don't remember who's like really into it for like one lesson and then disappeared. I get a lot of those. Okay, so hi Nash if you're watching this, but I will sometimes ask a question if they seem really interested. I'll tell them like about an aspirate onset. So an aspirate onset is when you start a note with breath. So instead of starting like it's like and it's not an H like simply an H because an H is which is different than which I'm starting vocal cord vibration like delayed, like the vibration is happening, kind of gliding into action slowly as the air pressure is already going. So I will get to your questions in a bit, Stephen and Daniel. So there's an aspirate onset, which is like I'm starting the note with breath, but I don't really ever talk about the aspirate offset. So I'll ask people like why I talk about like the creak onset and offset. So creak onset is like creak offset is So there's an onset and an offset with that. So then at the end, if I put aspiration at the end of a note, it doesn't really sound like anything special. Like there's no special aspirate offset because aspirate onset makes a unique noise, but aspirate offset is just like nothing special about that. I'm just releasing into breath like we often do. In fact, when we release with a glottal clamp, like a glottal stop, like it becomes like a different letter. It's like a different sound. It's not even like if someone's just yelling, people yell like and that's an aspirate offset. People don't yell like like they don't like suddenly stop themselves in the middle of a yell with a glottal stop. So aspirate offsets are the default way of offsetting something. Now a break is a combination of an offset and an onset. I'm getting just like some deep nerd shit. I'll get to other questions in a second, I promise. So break. An aspirate break is an aspirate offset, then an onset in the middle of a note. So an aspirate break is like or if I really compress it So yes, it's just an onset in the middle, but it's preceded by the offset, which is important. So yes, that's the anatomy of an aspirate break. So it is just adding an aspirate onset, but after an offset, usually, because that's what like breaking phonation. So you need an offset to break phonation. Okay. How can Stephen asks, what kinds of exercises would you recommend to a total noob at singing? What should he, she, or they, damn it, start with practicing? No, I like MB people are valid. I'm just being a bitch. Where should they start with practicing? It's like noobs that start at so many different levels. You should start, honestly, with figuring out what level you're at naturally. Because a lot of people will be like, I'm new because I don't understand what the word vibrato is, but I might have a latent ability to already do all this stuff. So start figuring out what you can do and what you want to do. I think that is the first thing to practice. And when you listen to singers, start trying to analyze. Like after the first lesson with me, you should have the tools to give basic analysis to any sung performance. You should be able to talk a little bit about the tone. You should be able to, of a singer, you should be able to talk a little bit about the technique that they're using. You should be able to talk a little bit about their range. You should be able to talk a little bit about, well, you can't really talk about anyone's vocal health just from listening to them. But yeah, so if this is you, if you're in this position, I think you should practice that analysis first and foremost and really get a sense of what it is you want out of voice, where your voice is, and what you want your voice to do. Oh, damn, it must be really lagging. Okay. So, yeah, practice analysis and figuring out what it is that you want. How can Daniel asks, how can I make the head voice note so air? Or not air? Okay, so yes, head voice or M2 tends to be airier, but it doesn't have to be. And also, airiness isn't always a bad thing. Like, if you're Mariah Carey, airiness in M2 is a good thing. Right? The whole, I don't know what she's done recently with this, but like, Mariah Carey's whole staple, it's like airy M2. And by extension, Ariana Grande's staple of M2 is having airiness. So, if I'm doing like Mariah Carey, I wanna know what love is, I want you to show me. So like doing that kind of thing, like if you're doing that on purpose, like there's nothing wrong with that. So disclaimer, there's nothing wrong with airy M2. But if you want it to be less airy, you can use glottal strikes inside of M2 to get your vocal cords to connect more, which is some of what people talk about Snoop Dogg with connected M2. So that will be basically like, so it's not a thing of being loud, because I can do these quietly, like, It's about the intensity of the glottal collisions. You want it to be like, and stay together. And stay together. These are the vocal cords, by the way. And stay together. Like, I told myself I would start looking at the camera and be a better person in 2018. But yeah, you want your vocal cords, these are your vocal cords to connect and stay connected and not allow as much air through. I don't fully know what defines connected M2 besides like potential connection of the vocal folds and the connectedness of the sound to M1 and the connectedness of the range in and of itself. But I honestly don't use that model firsthand. Other people do, and they use it in consistent ways that work for them. But I personally don't use that model as much, so I would not know as much about that. So I can't tell you everything about connected M2. I can tell you it tends to be where the vocal folds are connected together. My God, the vanilla just sets this shit off. Okay, let's see if people are actually asking questions or wasting my time. Oh, what's that chat? God, Discord, represent. Y'all not representing. All I know is nobody better be tagging me. Okay. Well, what about M3? What do you mean? Oh, it's a doggy! A wild doggy has appeared. I don't know if y'all got to see the dog. Once that dog become more popular than me on this channel. One of our newer roommates has a dog. Oh, such an adorable pit bull. Just wants so much love. Oh, here she is. Here she is. I don't know if y'all can see me. Oh, oh, savage beast. I'm waiting for Danielle to tell me. Oh, it connected to M2? No, it's not. Not at all. M3 is not connected to M2. M3 is its own separate thing. So no, it's not connected. Let me demonstrate that. Oh, you can scroll back. You can scroll back and see the dog. But yes, M2 can passaggio into M3. So if I do, let me turn on the keyboard and give myself some reference notes, or I'll just use this actual really out of tune piano that gives me approximately the right notes, because I don't want to go back into my dungeon yet. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Oh, Steve, don't feel like you have to ask questions for like the good of the server. You can ask questions for yourself. By the way, if they're not coming over here and asking questions, they can like not get this knowledge. Okay, so if I do both of those notes in M2, that will be pretty continuous. Like, oh God, that's awful, but that's both M2. But if I switch from M2 to M3, you're gonna hear a break because they're not connected. Like I can minimize the break, I can mask the break, but there is a break anatomically in the activity there. Like if you look at the vocal folds, the activity is just continuous. Like it has to undergo this switch. I can mask the sound of that switch. I can switch very quickly, but there's a switch that happens as I switch from M2 to M3 on the same jump. Wow, that was really bad. It's kind of hard to make that jump. But yeah, that was me doing the same notes, but M2 to M3 with that F5 to F6 versus just keeping it all in M2. You hear a break when you introduce the M3. Okay, what causes vibrato? How do I train it? What I believe causes vibrato is a sort of fluttering of the laryngeal tilt. Any way to practice, how do I train it? The way I personally have people train it that I find gets the best results is what I call finger training. And ladies, get your fellas on this finger trainer. But the finger training sort of acts as a means of doing like a range of motion exercise. One of my many medical backgrounds is in nursing, well, certified nursing assistant. And they teach you range of motion exercises. And it's basically like teaching the body how it's supposed to move when it's lost that range of motion. So vibrato, the purpose of doing like a finger vibrato, which is a finger vibrato, that wasn't a really good one. Let me try to give you a better one. Sorry, like I'm all gunked up with this smoothie. There we go. That was a little bit better. Also, I have like no range of motion in my neck right now because, oh God, I slept so weird on my neck. I'm so fucked up. I have like so many health problems right now. Please donate to my Patreon so I can live. Okay, so, what was I saying? So, doing that range of motion sort of teaches the vocal apparatus, let's just call it that for now, what vibrato is supposed to feel like, so you can reproduce that feeling rather than actively thinking about, I am going to actively create every single movement of vibrato. Because it's sort of like this tick that happens rather than and I go faster and faster, and I'm consciously going like up, down, up, down, up, down. I don't think up, down, up, down, up, down when I do vibrato. I think flutter. So the finger training is more in line, in my opinion, with that. Okay. Any ideas how to practice multiphonic singing? So, if you're using multiphonic correctly, in my opinion, what is the correct use of multiphonic? That does not include two-vent throat singing. So I can't really do it that well, but you know that like the like that kind of stuff. I don't know if like you can hear. I can hear them in my own head, but I'm not sure if those top formants are being produced loudly enough for y'all to hear. But y'all know the two-vin exotical shit. Like I'm not talking about that. Whenever I say multiphonic, that is overtone singing, not multiphonic. To me, multiphonic when it comes to voice means multiple sources of phonation, of independent. Well, not independent necessarily, but divorceable phonation that each have their own harmonic series and that aren't dependent on the vibration of the vocal folds necessarily. So, multiphonic singing includes several things. Some things I can do and some things I can't. So I'll talk about the ones I can do. So multiphonic singing will include this sort of what I call diplophonia, that uses, little known fact, you actually have an extra pair of vocal folds, the false vocal folds, to create another pitch. So that sounds like, that wasn't the best example, but good enough for now. And then Another example I'll give real quick is like buccal diplophonia. Actually, no. No, I won't give that example. That's super duper extra special. I'll talk about it for later. But Fry induced multiphonics, and that is using layered behaviors in the vocal folds to produce multiple notes at one time. So that's like a ooh, as opposed to ooh, ooh, is the multiphonics. So how can you practice that for the okay, so there's also one that I don't really know how to do really well, and I call it like, I guess, nodal polyphonia, which is, or multiphonics, which is where the vocal cords kind of like attach at one point, and they kind of like vibrate at two different frequencies on either side of that point. So that would, damn, this does not use much battery. I'm liking this encoder business. Okay, so can y'all even still see me that well? Let's see if y'all can see me. Oh damn, this light looking good. Okay, so sorry, like the worst jaw ache, and it's killing me. So how do you practice those? You can practice the diplophonia with the false folds by sort of learning to use your false folds and then learning how to kind of like overblow through the vocal folds, so you can like make a note while still passing a lot of air in between the true folds. So like a learning how to kind of control that. So kind of like the breathy M2 that we just talked about getting rid of, you usually use that as the engine for it, and then learning how to bring in false fold activity on top of that, and you get a and then usually doing it like on an ooh vowel and kind of controlling those false fold vibrations and true fold vibrations to get some more distinct tones out of each one, and get like a okay. So Krampus asks, how can I develop that M3 pitch accuracy? I usually just take the whistle note I'm given. Well kept secret. I do the same thing. But I think I try to reduce the artifact of the sort of like starter pitch that I get. Like when I use M3, after having not used it for a while, it's just my brain RAM, my brain energy is dedicated to finding M3, just getting the M3 out, getting it to happen at all in the first place. So I'm not as concerned with what note I actually end up on, and I just ended up on any note. After having like done that a couple times, I get in the swing of things, and I can have more muscle memory and recall for M3, and I can start being like, okay, well, I'm going to match this note. So I would practice getting to that point, and then just repeatedly pitch matching in M3, like you would do in any other mechanism. If you have like the prerequisite control and stability that starts to kick in after a couple attempts of M3, this should be somewhat natural to do. But if you find that's just like M3 does whatever it wants, and it's just this unruly beast inside your throat, like what you could do is just try to hold any note that comes out at first, and try to aim more towards like F6 through A6. I think those will be like your first stable pitches in M3. Below that, and it tends to be too low, and whistle M3 starts to like decompensate. Above that, above that A6, you are at risk for entering into what might be a whole nother vocal mechanism, what might be M4, or might just be a very specialized compartment of whistle. And you get this kind of like fledgling, what I call the fledgling whistle, that just like it zooms all over the place and it's harder to control. And you shouldn't even be really working on trying to control it until you can control regular M3 and like the 6th octave anyways, because usually that stuff is better for like the 7th octave. Okay. Steven, I guess Mia is probably not coming back. Oh, I wanted her to be here, or them. I wanted them to be there for this. But Steven asks, please explain fatigue training, any sequence or structure I should follow. Fatigue training depends on like what kind of vocal lifestyle you be living. It depends on, probably turn on light, but I hate light, and this is almost over. Another week survived. Now I can go back to hibernating and begging for death. Okay, so it depends on your lifestyle. If you use your voice a lot and you need it to be like on point most of the time, I would be not as aggressive with the fatigue training, but also keep in mind that means you're going to make progress a lot more slowly. So I would try to make time, like not have a bunch of gigs lined up all the time if you want to fatigue train your voice, so that you can really get the most out of fatigue training. And a good way to fatigue train is just finding a skill that exhausts your voice and doing it to exhaustion. I'll use the example of belting because I think that's accessible for most people. Jesus, I'm like so... allergies, I don't know what is happening. I'm just turning into a damn plum. So I'm going to go through belting and show fatigue with that, like what I call belting suicides. So it'll be like, and then like for the mercy of my roommates, I will just jump to the last one that most people should be doing, which is like G sharp to D sharp. And you'll do a bunch of those going up, and then you'll come back down, and then you'll go up with a like longer tap on the higher note. So like, and then you'll get to the top and be like, yeah, exactly, just like that, Phil Collins. Now you're getting it. In it. Oh my God, you're Nate, aren't you? Hey Nate, look at you finally coming through. So yes, Nate knows all about this fatigue, and can attest to how pushing your voice to the breaking point with these drills eventually gets to the point where you just do like a long one going up, and you get like a lot of that. Eventually, like after giving your voice some rest, which you don't need to like necessarily do like every other day be a rest day. You can do it for like 2 days in a row, whatever, and then like maybe 1 day off or whatever if you really want to get those results. Or you can just like do them sparingly through the course of the week and just have this like continual fatigue. And then as soon as you let go for a little bit, your voice starts recovering. You won't have that like, say I'm like starting to struggle with the top notes. Like I can't get that top note. That's the best I can do. Eventually I'll just be like, and be able to like sleep while doing it. So yeah, fatigue training, that's fatigue training for belting. Vocal fatigue is something that should be embraced, not feared. A lot of people feel like, oh, I lost my voice and it'll never come back now. Like all those 23 colds I've had in my life, and my voice just never came back after those colds. And the 50 concerts I've been to and parties and clubs I've been to in my life, and my voice just never came back after I lost it. I was like, no, your voice came back after all these events. It'll come back after fatiguing, and it will be stronger. Like, no, if it hurts to do these drills, you shouldn't do them if they hurt. But if all that's happening is you're losing your voice, good. Like, lose your voice. Lose some of that vocal fat. Oh, damn! Oh, oopsie. I left the phone in the, I left the phone in here. I use my phone to broadcast on Discord. Look at me being unprofessional as hell. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So that is that. See if anybody's saying anything. I need to. Val probably gone by now. Okay. So before Steven asks his one last question, when are there to be more people for this? Before Steven asks his one more question, I really should have done this probably earlier. I would like to, let me announce this in Sweet Sensation, to everyone. Yes, at everyone. Look at that. Oh, it's glorious. At everyone, congratulations to at Steve Sings and at who's that? Mia. Mia for their amazing contributions to the sick. Let me put some confetti on that. Confetti. What else? What's another thing? Party. This one's more congruent. I want to use the radioactive parrot though. Okay. Congratulations to Steve Sings. Alright. Especially y'all ungrateful assholes. I'm forwarding them with the @Scinguistics. Let me put it in bold. Actually, no, let's make it bold and italics. Boom. So now, yes, everyone. I want everyone to be bothered. And y'all now have access. Wow. Y'all now have access to all the premium channels. Yay! Okay. Let me get this program. Oh yeah! Okay, so if y'all wanna see me interact with Tristan, make sure you stay tuned. Especially if you have access to the premium channels, you'll see that I'm about to hopefully, we're in the talks for it, do a collaboration on one of our channels, maybe both, where we talk about belting. I do like a lot of Tristan's approach. I need to learn more about it because I think he does a great job of being, what's my favorite phrase from the Rainbow Passage? The one where it ends, the last one, where it's over. Okay. But I don't fully know what I think of Tristan's program yet because I feel like he doesn't let the goods hang out as much as I do, which is nothing wrong with that. I think he keeps his stuff like mainstream accessible and he doesn't get too like egg-headed when he talks about voice stuff. So I don't know because we haven't fully deep dived, but I'm grateful to him to popularizing the discussion of vocal mechanisms. Like, without Tristan and my big booty Judy, Nick, I would not be referring to mechanisms in public context. Like, I would just save that for the rare other voice nerd that I would occasionally encounter in my life. It's like, I've been teaching for a minute, but I've only been actually like doing social media like the last year. So I really wouldn't even bump into any other music nerds or voice nerds. So I almost never talk. Like, I used mechanisms once at like a conference for voice by an SLP society with ENTs and otolaryngologists in attendance. And when I used mechanisms, they damn near like laughed me out the room for talking about mechanisms. Oh, you're welcome, Stephen. Thank you for your contributions. So yeah, I'm super grateful to Tristan for making me not have to hide anymore. Without him, like, really popularizing science and voice, I think he really has like paved a lane for me to exist. That said, I don't know what I fully think about his specific program because like, and we like disagree on certain things, but like I respect him. If you want to see us disagree, you should check out this debate. Stay posted on the Discord and here. I'll be announcing it. Oh shit. Do I still sound far away? Oh, you know what? You know what? Did somebody try to call me during this? I swear to God, like, I get no love, and then, like, people try to, like, call me when I'm actually trying to do shit. Oh, Morgan DB isn't even in the voice channel. Oh, never mind. They not reacting now. They be on some thottery. Why is Valerie... Wait, what? Is Valerie by herself on purpose? I don't understand. Okay, well, I think that is it. Oh, that's not even Tristan's. My comments are reserved, but that's not even like necessarily Tristan's stuff. I think some of that is from CVT. I don't know, but in general, I refer to those as postures. Like, they're talking about vocal tract states that refer to several different features of the vocal tracts, all doing different things. And I don't use postures very much when talking in public about voice stuff, without like breaking them down at the very least, because I don't like to act like you just make one vocal tract change and it'll sound like this. Like, if I do the old man voice, like, if I do this voice, I'm gonna call it maybe the old man posture, old man voice. I'm not gonna refer to it as like a tone mod in the same way that I talk about like lowering the larynx or something, because this isn't just one thing. This is me lowering my larynx and doing aspirate rasp at the same time. So like, lowering my larynx and doing aspirate rasp. This aspirate rasp by itself, this is low larynx by itself. And old man is when you do both at the same time. So I don't like to treat those as one indivorceable thing. Oh yeah, it's gonna be available. Hopefully it'll be live. I don't know. But yeah, make sure to also bug Tristan about it on his social media so he doesn't forget about me because I'm unimportant. Damn, this thing go on forever. Oh, it's like an endless. Yeah, but the OBS, damn, Dakota hooked me the fuck up with the OBS because this thing is like draining way less battery than Google Hangouts. What is happening over on the server? Okay, I'm gonna end this so I can figure out what is happening on the server. People over here like talking and using the server and whatnot. I gotta be part of this. Activity on my server is rarer than you think. Oh, the funkiest phoneme that I know. Okay, that'll be the last thing that I do. The funkiest phoneme that I know is, off the top of my head, a lateral, it's like a lateral aspirated click from the Zulu language. So, in Zulu they have like something that is often miscalled a, oh yay, I'm happy, Daniel. You're welcome. Okay, so Zulu has like is one of the few actual African languages that have clicks. Like the stereotype of African languages is that they're all like, when like I don't even know a language that uses as a sound. Like I do not know of a language that uses as a sound. Like I studied abroad in South Africa for 6 months, never encountered a single, like there are no click languages that I know of outside of South Africa. Clicks in general take a lot of effort to make, and humans are lazy, so you do not find many click languages, if any, at all. Like besides the ones in that I know of that are like have had contact with Khoisan languages, either Khoisan languages themselves or the Bantu languages of South Africa that have had contact with the Khoisan languages. So clicks are pretty funky. You have the which is not that interesting, and then you have the, which is kind of interesting, and then you have like the, which I think is the most interesting. But in addition, when I found, like I knew some Zulu, these clicks are used in Zulu and Xhosa, but I knew some Zulu before I went to South Africa, but I did not know that there was a fourth kind of click that the textbooks won't teach you about. And I think this might be like a regional dialectal thing. Closure is usually closure between the vocal folds. Jesus God. Like, so in the ass jaw. Okay. So, there is a sound that's called like a voiceless L in Zulu, which I think is a lie. It's not like, you can't have a voiceless L, that doesn't exist. But it's like it's a lateral, it's a voiceless lateral fricative. It's basically that sound. So, slur your words. It depends on the word, but you pronounce the consonants more softly. Usually is how you slur a word. So if I'm talking and I want to start slurring, I don't pronounce the consonants as strongly, but I keep the vowels usually about the same, and that will result in slurring. Like pronounce the consonants less. Lateral fricative. So the word for luck, which is also the name of a singer that I really liked, is Inhlanhla. I thought it was pronounced Inhlanhla because it was spelled with the lateral fricative. So Inhlanhla was what I would say. And I kept trying to tell my friend in South Africa, like the name of the singer that I like. Oh, you know, Inhlanhla, the Inhlanhla. Inhlanhla, you don't know her? Inhlanhla. And I was like, finally, like, no, like her name means luck. Like that singer from the group Mafiki Zolo, and her name means luck. And he's like, oh, you mean Inhlanhla. Well, sorry, I just like kind of like half burped while doing that. Take two. Oh, you mean Inhlanhla. Wow. Okay. So I was like, oh. Rewind. So I was like, oh, like, you know, her name means luck. And she was part of the group Mafiki Zolo. It's like, oh, you mean Inhlanhla. And I was like, what? Inhlanhla? I thought it was Inhlanhla. They're like, no, it's Inhlanhla. So it's like this whole phoneme that I didn't even know how to describe. It's like halfway between the lateral fricative, which already has like no visibility. There's also a lot of Native American languages that have the lateral fricative. Yes, lateral fricative, actually. The voiceless lateral fricative. And there's a whole bunch of annoying like mayonnaise linguists that will call it a voiceless L. And I get how you call it that for like people that aren't in linguistics, but even inside a context of where they're talking to a classroom full of linguistics, they'll call it a voiceless L. And you can't make a voiceless L. Like, doing L without your vocal cords vibrating, like, okay, this is L with my vocal cords vibrating. La, la, la. But then without the vocal cords vibrating, it doesn't make a sound. It doesn't make a sound. Okay, so, what was I saying? So, the voiceless fricative, lateral fricative, which is called the voiceless L, often is barely understood in linguistics. Like, I don't meet a lot of people that could like knew about it or pronounced it in like phonetics and phonology classes. And to take that and then kind of turn it halfway into a click, I don't know if there is like a name for it. But it's like, I guess, like an aspirated lateral click, but they also do have an aspirated lateral click in the language, and that sounds different, or does it? Anyways, that is it's egressive. It is egressive. So it's not in that regards, but everything else about it is kind of funky. Actually, no. I think clicks are like VLARC or something like that is what they call. It's like some special class of egressive. I'm gonna look that shit up real quick. Clicks. VLARC airstream mechanism. Wait, what? Ingressive VLARC mechanism. I guess you're right. I guess it's technically ingressive. I guess this doesn't matter. This doesn't matter which way you breathe before you do it. Yeah, I think to build up that final air pressure, there is like an ingressive moment. But I guess I don't think of it as fully ingressive because the air that I am sucking in doesn't, like, it creates that vacuum seal, but it doesn't supply like the airstream for that sound. So if that makes sense, like, I'm really bad at ingressive phonation, but if I do ingressive phonation like that, if I'm breathing in and making sound, like the airflow is provided by the inhalation. But the airflow of the sound for a click is not provided by inhalation. So I guess, like, yeah, I guess it's VLARC ingressive. Huh. Because I need that sort of vacuum of the inhaling to make that seal so that I can release the click. But the aspiration of these clicks is usually egressive. So I guess it's like a dual airstream type thing that switches after you make like the bottom. Huh, that's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot. To be continued next time. Yeah, it's like it's like a buccal vacuum. Okay, well, that is all for this week's office hours. Remember that there is an open mic on July 4th. Y'all hoes keep asking for an open mic and then complain when I make an announcement about it. Just sign up for the damn open mic and I'll stop announcing it. I better check this after the stream and see there's like these 5 people that signed up. So I know 5 people clicked the thing saying that they were interested and hear about this open mic. There is an open mic on July 4th. And if you want your questions to be featured, use Stack Exchange. Let's see, what else? That's it. Okay, I'm stopping the streaming.